Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in. Centering herself and keeping her mind clear of distractions, Nia's eyes were long closed as she focused on her recovery, bathing in the raw pulsating magical energy all around her, drawing more of the ambient mana in with each breath, allowing it to flow through her like a liberating breeze, invigorating her body and strengthening her spirit. Her astral form was acutely aware of the subtle fluctuations around her, as the convergence of ley lines coursed in ebbs and flows through the very fabric of reality across all planes of existence. With her long-practiced skills, Nia was easily able to attune herself to this primal energy, fully harmonizing her own essence with these potent energies. With each passing moment, the sorceress felt her full strength returning to what it was before her loss, and her reserves replenishing once again as she surrendered herself completely to the embrace of the mystical convergence. Time had lost its meaning as Nia remained there, until finally the Stygian slowly opened her eyes with a serene expression. "Did it work?" Renna's voice called out gently. Nia looked around with fresh eyes. She had been sat in a lotus position on a smooth rock in the center of a tiny hidden-away forest clearing, with only a few long eroded rocks to even hint at the ancient henge that had once stood there. "I am fully revitalized," Devil's Daughter whispered back, as her peaceful expression slowly hardened into cold determination. "Fully?" Renna asked from the tree line, her usually stoic voice betraying a hint of surprise. "Yes," the Stygian nodded back. "Svarti was telling the truth about this place, though I find that does not surprise me." "Grandmaster Ilvela should be informed," Renna casually informed her as the Volster approached, scrutinizing Nia with her astral sight. "He will know," Nia nodded again. "I'll send a message to retire now anyway, but tonight I need to get back to work." "The Emerald King," Renna narrowed her eyes with concern. "Among others that are more pressing," Nia agreed. "Commander Cocaine is surprisingly difficult to locate, especially after his recent attack on House Malkar. However, rumors say he's amassing an army. Whatever his intentions, I will need to intervene if I am able." "Will he attack House Malkar again?" Renna asked. "Nobody seems to know for sure," Nia sighed. "His first attack on them was a surprise. I'd really like to know why he decided to go for them in particular. We don't have any obvious leads on any of the other active belligerents right now. Dr. Grime will have gone to ground, and it sounds like Jack messed him up when they met." The Stygian allowed a slight grin as she said that. "And alleged reports of killers being active are unreliable in these chaotic times," Renna added, "though perhaps we can investigate. What do you wish to do?" Nia closed her eyes and came to a decision. "I agree with you that the Emerald King is the most concerning. Their cultists appeared out of nowhere and nobody seems to understand where they came from, despite our best efforts," she reasoned. "There are far too many unknowns." "Head Whisperer Retire may be able to find out where a sermon is being held," Renna stated. "I should attempt to attend it and discover what happens." "Then I shall remain nearby, just in case," Nia nodded. "However, I must make a public appearance, and soon. The ongoing fires of chaos need to be extinguished quickly, and people knowing that I still exist can assist with that." "Our targets must be carefully chosen before we act," Renna warned. "So you, Ratai, and Ilvela keep reminding me." Nia rolled her eyes. "But I'll act if I deem it necessary." "Your impulsiveness failed you last time," the Volster reminded her. "I won't just stand by while the city tears itself apart," Nia snapped, harsher than intended at the recollection of her fight with Svartal. She paused and took a deep breath before calmly continuing. "I'm sorry, Renna. It's clear that there's much work to be done." "Indeed," Renna stoically nodded. "Let's go." As the two of them observed the desolate streets below, the abandoned warehouse loomed ominously against the dimly lit backdrop of the city around them. Its walls were adorned with graffiti, covering the long-forgotten company name of whoever once owned it, now standing as a worthless relic of forgotten industry, now repurposed for something else. "There are more people attending than I would normally expect of something like this," Renner whispered, as they observed the figures making their way in. It will be simple for me to sneak in. I'll go now and blend in with my surroundings. I'll be observing, Devil's Daughter confirmed. If I detect any danger, I'll make an appearance, but I agree that we should observe for now. As you say, Renner nodded, as she slinked out of sight. Nia redoubled her focus now that she was alone. She knew Renner's capabilities well. Indeed, the Volster had successfully scattered out many a location for her, noting enemy positions, as well as any innocents that may have been around. The fact that Jack had somehow seen her during the clown attack at the party was rather surprising, though Nia supposed that was simply a part of his strange outsider nature. At least Renner had a good cover story that he seemed to buy. More figures slowly made their way to the warehouse, and Nia could smell the stench of decay and dampness that was prevalent through the city, causing her to cast a quick cantrip to dull the sensation around her. A trivial use of her power, but she was in no mood to suffer any more than she had to. As the last of the figures made their way into the warehouse, Nia cast a more complicated spell, which connected her senses to Renner's, allowing the Stygian to be able to sense what the Volster sensed, while still being aware of her surroundings. Her clairvoyant vision cleared, and Nia could see that the old warehouse was completely bare of anything, having long been stripped of anything of value that may have hinted at its former use. Now it was little else but patches of darkness, punctuated by several flickering candles of green flame, dancing among the rusty support beams. The ceiling of the place soared high above, blanketed in shadow, and Renner could hear the ominous creaking of the rafters with each gust of wind that slipped through the broken windows, though looking above there were shapes of green-robed figures moving about on the catwalks above. At the far end of the warehouse was a crude altar made of scrap that stood like a beacon in the gloom, and it was here that the congregation gathered around. As a male Eladra clad in robes of the richest green stood preaching to the masses, with a deep rumble that echoed all throughout the cavernous space, sending chills down the spines of all who heard it. Several other robed figures were walking amongst the congregation, handing out food to those who clearly craved it. Some people were already on their knees, knelt before the altar in supplication, and listening to the words of the speaker.
You have seen the actions of those that believe they hold the reins of power in this city,
they boomed, as many agreeing faces nodded.
You have felt how they have trodden on each and every one of you. Like you, I was lost and powerless. Like you, I had no future, no life, no hope.
As Renner hid herself in the shadows by one of the support pillars, Nia got a clear view of many nodding heads from all around the room, as the masses agreed with the charismatic speaker.
But the Emerald King says no more, they cried out in a crescendo. He has seen the corruption and misery across the cosmos, and he has found it wanting. All have a part to play in his grand design. Who among you shall join us?
Classic cult manipulation tactics, Nia noted. Why am I not surprised? But what do they want? None of the crowd declined, though whether they truly had faith or were simply desperate enough to suck up to those providing free food was up for debate. Many of the other cultists moved among them, providing more food and making small talk with members of the congregation. Nia noted that a few were being pulled to the side, though even with Renner's abilities she couldn't tell what was being said.
You, madam,
the speaker suddenly pointed, and the crowd parted to reveal an unsure-looking Zarek woman hanging towards the back. As Renner looked, she could sense a powerful frame beneath the woman's ragged clothes, and as she shifted, could see several obvious combat scars.
I sense your pain, and I feel it is a pain as familiar to me. Tell me, what is your name? Did you serve in the military?
I did, the reptilian nodded, closing her eyes with sadness. I was First Sergeant Chalia. I served 3-4 bands with the Red Legion until they discharged me. My squad was destroyed when the Drow attacked the Wrath of Carrion. I should have died with them when we covered the escape, but by some curse I survived. I came to Naganai with what survivors I could, and delivered them to the Sign of Wormwalker, but the officers there deemed me too damaged for service. I could not bear the shame, so I snuck away and never went back. I don't know what to do now. Every time I close my eyes, I see the faces of my brothers and sisters in arms. I know I'll join them soon. It's only a matter of time.
You are a wayward daughter, Chalia, and you are not alone.
The speaker walked up and embraced the woman, before directing her to join the tiny group of people that had been taken to the side.
You were discarded, but the Emerald King will forge you purpose, as he does to us all. You shall come with us and be healed of your burdens in his embrace.
Chalia nodded weakly and did as instructed, as several of the other cultists led her towards the base of the stairs, leading up to the catwalk.
And you!
The speaker pointed again at another figure, wearing a long set of brown robes, sat heavily against a post, struggling to stand up.
I sense great pain in you. Tell us your story.
My story? The broken-looking squarry sighed as he got up. What's there to tell? I had a family and the fucking clowns took them from me. I survived. Each day I survive some more. Next time the clowns come, I'll kill as many as I can before I join them.
You won't stand alone, the speaker told him soothingly. The Emerald King will smite the evils that plague society. He only asks that you help him.
I think I can do that. The squarry nodded.
And you?
The speaker pointed at a younger man, skulking in the middle of the crowd, who slinked back upon being pointed out.
You come here with hopes of a good haul, either from us or from the others that have heard his call.
No, I didn't, the figure hastily retorted.
We all aid the Emerald King in our own way, the speaker continued unimpeded. You are a pickpocket who steals to live, but what if you did not have to?
You could give me something better? The figure responded, and Renna could see it was a dress crocs as they shuffled with interest.
The speaker nodded. The Emerald King has a plan for all. Join us, friend. Come and find yours.
Was that a magical compulsion? Nia asked herself, as the number of those that were pulled aside out of the few hundred entered the late double digits. But why?
The Emerald King has one simple wish from all of you, the speaker concluded,
addressing the masses of people still clustered together, as he pointed to several crates stacked up against one of the far walls.
Feast, eat your fill, and feed those that need it. Spread the word of the Emerald King and his message, and allow his work to be done. May you all walk in his light, and spread it to the shadows.
As one, the crowd rushed towards the crates, dashing them open and stuffing their mouths and pockets with whatever they could find with the fervour of starving rodents. Renna paid them no mind as, almost as one, the cultists moved to the small group they had pulled aside, and led them up the stairs to the catwalk. Sensing a few magical wars and hearing the creaking, Renna immediately went to the wall, climbing up it easily with her claws while maintaining her obfuscation, listening into what was being said.
The faith of the Emerald King is not just present here in Naganai,
the speaker told the assembled group as they listened intently.
Many of our brothers and sisters spread his message in other cities, but we also build communities away from the dregs of society. I would have you all join us.
I don't know, the pickpocket from earlier spoke up. I mean, I don't have anything to bring with me, but where are we even going?
A better place, the speaker smiled,
as they walked down the catwalk, while Renna crawled along the underside.
A safe place. A place completely untouched by the corruption of this city. A place where all of you can heal and find peace from your despair.
As Renna looked ahead, Nia felt an overwhelming sense of spatial magic, as several of the cultists quickly summoned a portal of swirling green right at the end of the catwalk. Renna dared not advance any closer, and could sense the powerful magical sigils around them. We need to wait for them to all leave before we can investigate further, Nia thought to herself. But whatever this is some very powerful magic. Perhaps it truly is the work of a divine being. As the portal stabilized, the speaker turned to the assembled crowd with a winning smile.
Join us,
he said, in a very deliberate voice, and Nia could sense the powerful enchantment behind his words.
Though she wanted to intervene, Nia knew they couldn't show their hand just yet. Quickly marching through the portal, the group were transported elsewhere, quickly followed by the remaining cultists. The portal dissipated almost instantly afterwards, as it was closed from the other side, and as Renna looked around, the arcane walls and alarms that had been placed around them were fading too.
"Stay there, Renna. I'll clear the building,"
Nia whispered under her breath, which she knew Renna could hear from their telepathic link. As she maintained the veil of invisibility upon herself, Nia quickly blinked to the ground, and spotted the last few dregs of people still rummaging through the crates of food. Making motions with her hands as she whispered the spell, Nia thrust her arms forward as everyone around them, with the exception of herself and Renna, suddenly felt a pang of sheer terror and immediately ran screaming from the building.
"Unsubtle, but we don't have all night,"
Nia commented, as she dropped her invisibility, just as Renna flipped up onto the catwalk above.
"The arcane marks are fading fast," Renna noted, "likely set to fade away with the cultists." "They look like the basic marks of detection and alarm to me," Nia noted, having seen many mages use something similar in the past. "But I need to get to that portal." "Agreed. The crates of food can wait,"
Renna nodded, as Nia quickly blinked up to join her.
"What do you make of this?"
"It's a very advanced portal," Nia admitted, as she cast a diagnostic spell. "Not even I can cast this sort of thing, but I can run my mana through it and find out where those people were taken." Making motions with her arms and chanting under her breath, Nia channeled her mana through the ever-fading runes to try and reactivate enough of the ritual, which proved difficult. "Strange," the Stygian muttered under her breath. "I can't even get a general direction from this thing."
"Be careful," Renna warned. "I know you said you've recovered, but—"
"Very strange," Nia reiterated. "This has given me some unusual readings."
"Unusual how?"
Renna asked, lacking Nia's arcane knowledge. "The elemental planes of both water and fire in quick succession?" The Stygian pointed out with raised eyebrows. "It's a deception. I think I'm being mocked."
"With fire and water being opposites, and a convergence of some kind between the two essentially being useless?"
Renna asked, having an idea of what her friend meant.
"Precisely," Nia nodded. "An effort for me to waste my mana and throw me off the scent. But I would say that something like this is telling in itself." "Why require the deception if your intentions are honest?"
Renna agreed. "The mesmerism I detected them use in that group was already proof that they weren't," Nia noted. "We already knew they want to spread the word. We just need to know where they took those people."
"Can you find them?"
the Volster asked her. "They haven't made it easy," Nia muttered back. "I just need to—" Suddenly, right in the middle of the ritual circle, there was a bright green flash, as a ripple of energy shot out from a single point floating above them. "Get away!" Nia warned Renna, who quickly slipped off into the shadows. "I didn't botch it, but something's reacting to my intrusion." As the ritual circle flashed again, several shapes materialized into form at the base that immediately caused Nia to ready her defenses and begin casting. Standing on 4 legs at over 1 meter in height, the carnivorous dark green-skinned beasts glared at Devil's Daughter with bright purple eyes of malevolent intent, as they growled their displeasure with powerful maws of jagged teeth. The flesh of the beasts was rubbery and hairless, and they had a mane of several tentacles around the side of their heads. "Crochet!" Nia yelled out, spreading her arms wide as she sprayed a cone of molten glass out at the bunched-up beasts, causing many of them to whine out in pain and shrink back, even as the bolder ones rushed straight towards her. The closest one had been caught full-on in the face, arrived around on the ground before its smoking form lay still. Wasting no time, Nia blinked down to the floor, causing many of the animals to look around in confusion and sniff the air before spotting her below them. Many of the pack bolted for the stairs, but a few of the bolder beasts jumped straight off the catwalk to the ground. One of the beasts crumpled to the ground with a snap as it landed poorly, but another landed on its feet, while another, smarter one, had leapt for the mostly empty crates of food to use as a platform, but by then Nia had finished casting once again. From hidden spaces all around her, several small beasts began to glow with red light in the gloom, and with a word from their summoner, the firebugs scattered out,
several of them slamming into the first beast and detonating with small pinpoint explosives around the face and neck that quickly brought it down, while several more smacked the second along the flanks before Nia finished it off from a quick blast of flame from the red crystal star she was now using. I think I know what these things are, Nia reasoned to herself, but they're not reacting to the fire like animals should. I have to kill all of them. As she heard the rest of the beasts rushing down the stairs as best as they could, she commanded the rest of the firebugs to engage the beasts as she began casting again, timing it just right as they got to the bottom, before she launched a scorching ray that cut down half of what remained. 3 left, Nia noted. Not exactly smart beasts, but capable of quickly chasing people down. Perfect for taking out your average curious mage. A sound roared out around the warehouse as the ritual sight flashed again out of the corner of her eye, as something larger began to materialize. That's not a good sign, Nia thought to herself. I need to shut that portal down now. The snarls and barks rapidly grew closer as the beast dashed towards her, briefly dividing her attention as she quickly cast a flame trap on the ground, which detonated just as she blinked back up to the portal. Do you intend to engage? Rena asked her telepathically, as the materializing shapes gradually became clearer. Looking like several large bipeds, they had a mixture of nasty-looking weapons brought to bear. We were told to just observe, and not make ourselves known. Nia nodded, agreeing with the logic and reluctant to face these new enemies, as she quickly cast a counterspell to destabilize the planar connection. In a heartbeat it blinked out, and in that moment, the rest of the arcane sigils and figures blinked out too. That was unexpected, Nia noted with a sigh of relief, as nothing else materialized to bother them. Quite a violent reaction too. I suspect that second set of figures was a cleanup crew of some kind. Agreed, Rena nodded, appearing next to her once again. Do you know what those monsters were? We'll need to confirm it by retrieving a sample, Nia shrugged, but they look like Akashtas to me, except I've never seen any like these before. They didn't react to my fire magic, so I suspect that they've been altered in some way. We'll need to inform the Masters. They'll want to know. It didn't take long for Grandmaster Orvella to pick up the comm. Well done. I'll send a clean-up team to your location, but I need you elsewhere, the Grandmaster told her, sounding worried. As Nia listened to the details, her expression turned to dread.